Hello, my name is Niamh O'Brien. Welcome to my PechaKucha for LIR's show and tell competition. I'm going to present on the OER project that I was part of while studying my Masters in Information and Library Studies at UCD. As a student, I had the opportunity to apply for an internship in what was then AIT as part of a module in service learning. The service learning module would give me the opportunity to get some hands-on practical experience working in a library while I was still a student. Unfortunately, as a COVID era graduate, I didn't get the chance to work in person. However, the experience really prepared me for a working life in a post-COVID world, if you can call it that. I had the experience of connecting with my placement supervisor and project co-workers virtually and managing communications through email and Zoom. There were two main elements of my work with the project. First was the creation of a library guide to inform teaching staff about OERs and how they can implement them in their teaching. And secondly, an index of OERs for each of the four faculties in the college. OERs really took off during the pandemic, and with good reason. Because of their digital nature, OERs can be accessed both on campus and remotely. They ensure fair access to all students as they are freely available, and this removes the financial burden from traditional resources, especially in a time when the whole world is struggling. But what are OERs, I hear you say? OERs are open educational resources, are teaching and learning materials that you can use freely and reuse at no cost and without needing to ask permission. Examples of this are textbooks, lecture slides, podcasts, online courses, and videos. Is that legal? Of course it is. OERs tend to have Creative Commons licenses. There are four main components of CC licenses. Firstly, there's attribution, or BY, where the original creator of the work should be attributed whenever a portion of the work is reused or adapted. Then we have share alike, where iterations of the original work must be made available under the same license terms. Non-commercial, meaning the work cannot be sold at a profit or used for commercial means. And no derivatives, meaning the work cannot be altered or remixed, and only identical copies can be redistributed without additional permission. Like I said, the project included creating four faculty-specific indexes. But before I could start finding resources, I needed to gain an understanding of what subjects are taught within each faculty. Obviously, to find appropriate resources for teaching and staff, I had to know what it is they teach. But where did I find the OERs? We all know there's a wealth of information and knowledge online, but while I was searching, I repeatedly returned to these four platforms: OpenStax, Open Textbook Library, Merlot, and BC Campus. These platforms have high quality OERs that I felt confident including in the index. As most OERs are created in Canada or North America, there are some subjects which have limited resources applicable for Irish students. Because of the nature of the subject, it is difficult to find OERs for Irish law students, and OERs from different jurisdictions may be unhelpful or potentially misleading for Irish students. Together we collected all our resources for each subject within each faculty inside of a Google document. This helped us review and structure the content before we wanted to put it into the index. This made the next step much easier when it came to it. We used Fusion Builder, which is a WordPress add-on, to build the index. This required some basic HTML and a lot of mistakes to get right, but I found this specific aspect of the project was very rewarding because it really brought the project to life. So here's the finished product, an example of the Business and Hospitality Index, which is one of the 4 A to Z indexes that were created during the project. Each are arranged alphabetically by subject and is a collection of high-quality, subject-specific OERs. Along with the index, we also created a library guide. The OER LibGuide has all the information teaching staff would need to implement OERs in their teaching practice. In addition to using the index, the library guide encourages staff to discover more OERs by giving them tips on finding and assessing OERs for adoption. By the time I finished my service learning module, we were ready for liftoff. We all got together, the OER working group, Celine, Saoirse and I, on Zoom, including the Institute librarian Dr. Joanna Archbold, and the website along with the LibGuide went live. I really enjoyed my internship at AIT, and since finishing up in 2020, AIT has become TUS, and 2 years later I was offered a job there. While the OER project isn't the main focus of my current role, I am still very much involved. The service learning experience also meant I already knew some of my co-workers before starting. Since the index and LibGuide were launched, we're continuing work to expand the collection to meet the growing educational needs of students and staff alike. This includes finding OERs for new courses and new modules, along with adding new OERs as they are created and published. As I said, since I worked at AIT, it's become the Technological University of the Shannon, or TUS for short, and so we've been working on transitioning the branding on the LibGuide and index. This work includes implementing a new colour palette, creating new graphics for the landing page, and updating URLs and hyperlinks. Thank you for listening to this short presentation. If you want to find out more about the OER project, see the LibGuide or the index, all you have to do is follow the URL on screen. And you might have noticed I've put my Twitter handle in the bottom corner. Give me a follow.